Our CNN opinion research poll shows that 87% think that Joe Biden is qualified to be president. 42% think Palin. What are the implications? Does that throw you, Georgette?
No, it doesn't throw me. Look, Palin had to do two things last night. One, she had to hold her own with Joe Biden, who, after all, he's been in the Senate for 30 years. If he doesn't know the answers to those questions in his sleep, then he obviously slept through the 30 years. She held her own, and she had to keep the base excited. And she did that. And that's what her job was. She did it. She was outstanding in it. And the problem is today people make fun of the way she talks because they don't believe a woman that talks like that can be smart and capable, too.
Georgette, it's not about the way she talks. If you look at these polling numbers, people are scared to death. They don't think she has the qualifications, and nothing that happened last night is going to change the trajectory of this race.
Pags, isn't that one of the big question marks that you would face yourself? Is the governor of Alaska ready to be president of the United States?
Well, I think the question that I ask myself is anybody who's running for vice president ready to be the president of the United States? I wasn't sure that Al Gore was ready to be the president of the United States. I wasn't sure Dick Cheney was ready to be the president of the United States. That's why I was voting for the person who was president. Now, Stephanie, you keep laughing, and you know what's interesting to me is you need to get out of L.A. You need to understand that there's more out here. Come to Texas.
Where are all these polls
Come
being done? All these polls aren't being done in L.A.
Look,
I give you, Joe, you know what? I give you, being
I'll actually show you some respect, and I'll stop talking.
This was not the Category 5 comedy disaster that many people had hoped it would be, that the Katie Couric interview was.
Well, I got to tell you something.
These polls are not done in L.A., Joe. These polls are done all around the country. And
how many people were polled, Stephanie? You've got to ask yourself that. If we're polling 600 or 900 people and saying the whole country feels one way, I could do a poll tomorrow that says something very different. I saw a poll last night said 87% thought that Sarah Palin won the debate last night. You've got to stop the talking points and really look at this. You've got an executive of a state.
Excuse me, you can say wacko.com and you can say it's a comedy disaster.
He's citing right-wing online polls.
Excuse me.
That's what you're citing.
We are talking about people's lives here.
I'm citing the fact that you can make a poll, Stephanie, and have a result any way you want, and you know that.
Okay.
We've gone through election cycles where we've found that out over and over and over.
Maybe we ought to just stop polling. The N-word Maverick, the N-word Maverick was invoked numerous times last night. Here are a few examples, and then we'll ask Ed to comment.
This team that is a team of Mavericks with John McCain. I think that's why we need to send the Maverick from the Senate and put him in the White House. He has been the Maverick.
He's not been a Maverick on virtually anything that generally affects the things that people really talk about around their kitchen table.
Ed Schultz, why is Maverick now a key word?
Well, because John McCain this week, Larry, had a golden opportunity at a game changer. He has been out on the campaign trail telling people that he is going to cut spending, that he's going to make people famous, he's going to tell you who they are. And what does he do? And let me just read this from September 23rd about this bailout bill. John McCain said that a bill with any kind of earmarks would be unacceptable and simply cannot happen. Then he goes back to Washington and he votes for this $700 billion pig. Now, what you say on the stump about being a maverick and you're going to do this and go after the earmarks, and then you go back to Washington. You know, Joe, I'd like to have you defend that vote on the part of John McCain. It's a fact what he said, and it's a fact how he voted, and they do not match up.
Well, Ed, I'll tell you what, I'll defend it the way that you've been reacting to everything I've said. I'll be very bombastic like you. I'll laugh at everything you say, and I'll tell you, John McCain was not my guy from the beginning. I think that he's made a mistake when it comes to the economy, but by saying...
Then you've answered the question.
Ed, if I could, realize that you're the host here, Larry's the host.
Good job,
Ed, let him finish.
The fact is, this is a trust issue with the American people.
If you're going to call me out... If you're going to call me out, let me finish my sentence.
Right.
I feel it's important that John McCain stick to what his strengths are, which are foreign relations, which are the war, which are the fact that he is a maverick. We're going to use that word by reaching across the line in Congress and able to work with Democrats for years and years, 20-plus years. You can't deny that. Calling out one statement John McCain made, you want me to call it the 10 statements Biden made last night?
He had a perfect opportunity this week to bring the House members, and he
your
couldn't do
radio show
it.
must be really rough to listen to if you don't let anybody talk, my friend. If you want to call me out, give me a chance to finish.
All right, Joe Biden had an emotional moment late in the debate alluding to that traffic accident that killed his first wife and young daughter and left two sons critically injured. Take a look.
I'm much better off than almost all Americans now. I get a good salary as United States Senate. I live in a beautiful house. It's my total investment that I have. So I am much better off now. But the notion that somehow, because I'm a man, I don't know what it's like to raise 2 kids alone. I don't know what it's like to have a child you're not sure is going to make it. I understand, as well as, with all due respect, the governor or anybody else, what it's like for those people sitting around that kitchen table.
Is that effective, or do you think a little hokey?
Well, no, I mean, you know, clearly that was genuine. I think it's a little hard to...
I know it was genuine, but did it play
Well, you know, Larry, I think it goes to, you know, that's hard to fake that kind of moment. I think somebody that has, you know, 9 houses and 13 cars and thinks the fundamentals of the economy are strong, you know, have not lived the life that Joe Biden has clearly lived. So I thought he spoke from the heart.
So everything
I thought it was compelling.
hokey, but Joe Biden not hokey. Okay, that's cool.
George Bush cries all the time.
She wasn't talking about the death of her spouse and child.
And Larry's question was, is it hokey?
If you want to call that story,
if you want to
call that story hokey, then go ahead. I guess that's the compassionate conservatism we've heard about so much.
Okay.
Joe Biden also said that he didn't think Obama was qualified to be president. Joe Biden said he would be willing to be on a ticket with John McCain.
We don't have to pay attention to that, Georgia. You have to understand, you only have to pay attention to things that they disagree with.
Okay, let me get a break. We've got 2 Republicans with opposing views of Sarah Palin coming up.